You are now listening to the new Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time at BringDownTheBand.com, and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Sun King Brewery. Support the new Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You are now tuned in to the new Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. I have headphones on and I can hear everybody, and this is great. Shout out to Lone and Red August for continuing to work through our audio problems to get us where we need to be. Appreciate you, brothers. Speaking of Lone, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing spectacular, Michael. Thank you.
Hey, man, we're not about to do this today, okay?
What?
You know, we're not about to do this today.
I'm trying to be enthusiastic over here.
Okay. All right.
I'm
If that's what you call it.
Enthusiastical.
Yeah, if that's what you call it. Then,
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Fine. Oh, my goodness. My man, Jay Moore, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Blessed and highly vaccinated.
Okay, I see. My immediate left, DJ Jay Diff. What's happening, man?
Salutations. Hey,
You good?
I'm in the cut, man.
Okay.
I'm digging my guy Jay Moore's the Mac shirt.
Yeah, he
though.
killing them right now. I ain't gonna
It's
lie.
a little something I picked up, you know.
feeling that.
I'm definitely feeling that. So good job on that one.
Yeah.
Got a pair of Air Max that I kill that shirt. Man.
Well, you got to get, like this commercial said, my brother, you've got to get your own.
Hey, they went outside when that was.
Yeah, we might have lost some people on that one, low key.
That's okay.
Shout
We'll
out,
figure it out.
shout out to everybody in the chat. We see you. We appreciate your support as always. And did I shout out Red August in the building? Produce? I did not. Red August is in the building on site producing. Getting his feet wet with buttons and bells and whistles and things, but my boy doing a good job. Hey, be careful with that cup, brother. All right, so let's let's go ahead and get into the topics here for today. You know what? Just thought about something. We have our three, but not ask. I forgot to ask the chat about a random random topic.
Pull one up.
Okay, let's do let's do Vax That Thang Up. Let's do that one. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but shout out to the homie Manny. Y'all know I love Manny Fresh. I always speak highly of Manny Fresh. He's one of my favorite producers.
Is this song shout out worthy?
Oh man,
Or is it
I'm just shouting Manny out. I don't know about what
I mean, he's part of it.
he
so
is, and you know,
he's guilty by association.
is,
so
man.
continue with your story.
I will.
No shout out involved.
Okay. So Manny Fresh, I guess I got to pull my shout out back. Manny Fresh, Juvie, and I believe Mia X. Yeah, Mia X is on there as well. So they remade Back That Thang Up, and it is now Vax That Thang Up, promoting obviously people going out to be on the healthy side and get vaccinated. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. They had the video. They even shot it. It was similar to, actually in the same location. Some of the pieces, some of the parts were from where the original video was shot. Same camera work going around. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I kind of looked at this one sideways when I saw it. When I was on Twitter, they were getting completely dragged on Twitter for doing this. So I'll just throw it out to you, gentlemen, and see how you guys initially felt when you saw, or if you did see the Vax That Thang Up video. Jay Moore, I'll come to you first. Were you enthused about this? Were you excited?
Enthused? It certainly is not the word I would use.
Well, how'd you feel, brother?
No, you know, because honestly,
Be careful now.
no, I don't have to be.
We got
careful. I know what
legends.
time it is. When I saw it, it was more funny than anything. You know, because
Okay.
look, at this point, if you need Manny Fresh and Juvenile and Mia X to tell you to get vaccinated, like I don't know what else to really tell you.
Yeah.
Like you are really, if that's what makes you say, man, I need to get down to CVS
You
and
know
get it
what?
popping, then honestly, your life is probably not going according to plan anyway.
Okay.
So I thought it was more funny and entertaining, but I'm thinking, you know, because Big Pharma or whatever or whoever was the money behind
They got a
this,
bag.
'cause
You know
there's
that.
Yeah, because, you know, hey, everybody got to eat and everybody, you know,
They got a bag.
people are just now getting back to business for real.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're going to do this, like get the people who I don't want to say are still relevant, but you know,
Well, that's what you're saying,
you know,
though,
you notice they didn't get Drake or Ariana Grande or
I don't know.
They
else.
probably said no if they were presented to
and the
this.
thing is, those people are like, no, because the bag you have for me is not significant enough for me to do this.
Correct.
Now, I don't think, and I see people like dragging them on.
They getting dragged.
I'm like, I don't think it's that. Like, there's this comedian named Godfrey.
He's brilliant, man.
I'm a fan of it, but he's got a whole video calling Juvenile a sellout and this. I was like, fam, like. I understand this is divisive to many people from many, but just because people want to get vaccinated and don't want to cape for Bill Cosby, that doesn't automatically make you a sellout. Like there's so many nuances and conversations we could have before we just start calling people names.
That's fair.
But I just think when I saw it, this was more funny than anything. But and also, look, I know people who have gotten COVID and are still, they don't have it now, but they're still dealing with the effects of it. I want people to take this as seriously as possible, and I say to anyone who still is like, I don't know about the vaccine. Like I said, I first of all, as soon as I could get the vaccine, I got the vaccine early.
Yeah.
As soon as they said people 40 and up can get it, I think
you were like April.
I went out and got mine first day of April. I know it's kind of weird to get a vaccine that people are skeptical of on April Fool's Day, but I did it. You know what I'm saying?
Well played. Well played.
But the thing is, it's like, this is still something that we have to take very seriously. And, people say, I don't know how you get the vaccine. I said, fam, I've said it on this show before. They gave it to rich people first. Like if they'd have been giving it out in the projects and at the steak and lemonade spots or whatever, I'd have been like, no, I'm not getting that vaccine. But they basically gave it to the country club crowd first. So that basically lets me know that this is as safe as it's going to be. I know there's still people who are, but the same way your polio ain't kicking up, it's the same thing with this. So still, we need to take this thing seriously. I don't know if this helps at all. Like I said, I saw it more as a Chappelle skit than anything else. So,
well,
tell it like it is.
Tell it like it is. Jay Diff, talk to me, man. How did you?
Manny Fresh didn't make you say, "Oh yeah, I really need to take this seriously." Now.
I'm cool on that, but what they don't realize is this is not farm aid, and we don't need a "We Are the World" about taking the vaccine.
I like what you did there.
It was a backward step. For mankind, for Juvie to mess up a classic, and we were just talking about cult classics.
We were.
That song is a definite classic. Is received well across every genre, every demographic, every walk of life.
Facts.
Messes with Back That Thing Up.
Yeah,
everybody.
And for you to make and pillage that song like
pillage
by making a remix called "Vax That Thang Up" was very unnecessary, sir. And anybody that put that battery in that young man's back or old man's back, whatever you want to call it, is responsible for this. And they need to be set in the corner, or they need to get Donkey of the Day by 𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏.
So if I'm asking, if I'm hearing you correctly, it just said it wasn't just part of mankind that was set back. This one just was a setback across the board.
Across the board, man. We ain't putting it on any one race because I'm sure other races influenced that foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
And Juvie should have been smart enough. I don't know if he needed a bag or what. I mean, make an album. Holler at Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was y'all's friend at one point in time.
Yeah.
He's doing all right for himself. I mean, he's not really putting out great albums.
I don't think many need the bag.
I'm pretty sure he can get them the number to Drake, and he can get a Drake track. Something.
Manny don't need.
I don't know.
Manny's still getting publishing checks. He don't need the bag. No,
I'm sure, but I don't know how Baby structured those deals, so he may not be getting as much as you think he's getting.
Yeah.
But he could have called Lil Wayne and got in touch with Drake if he needed a hit. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I respect it.
That's where I'm at with it.
Shout out to Birdman. I respect it. So Lone.
This is the best song I've heard all year. I mean, it's a take on a classic. It's got fire verses.
Oh man!
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Scott.
I mean, the only thing it's missing is Drake.
that was the song Drake was supposed to jump on.
Maybe Young Turk would be nice.
There's going to be a remix for the Certified Lover Boy project.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely got revaccinated because
I went back and got another
He
shot.
couldn't even say that. Like he couldn't even say that without laughing.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't say that without laughing.
I tried.
Yo,
No, it's absolutely horrible.
yeah, it's pretty bad, man.
But I mean, hey, I don't understand. It's like a Weird Al song. Like I don't know. It's not. It's like a parody. Like so, I when I saw it, I laughed and heard like 2 bars from Juvenile, and I was like, nope, he's changing the lyrics.
I laughed and I
was like,
cringed also. Like, you ever look at something where you just like, nah, man, that ain't it. Like, it's just, that ain't it. That's how.
Like they went to the studio.
Yeah.
They went to on location. They got lighting people, cameras, gaffers.
Shot a video.
Got a video.
Yeah.
A whole video.
Yeah. And so like, I'm like, a lot of work went into this. I'm like, who paid for all of this? How did they got Pen and Pixel back out to make the cover. They still had to,
Did they shoot it in the video in like the junkyard with the cars and stuff?
I don't know where. It looks like it was in the exact same place. Some of
wait.
those locations were
I'm
the
thinking-
same.
I didn't even get
thinking
any
of Hobbs.
participation points in that.
That's what
for
I'm
watching that video because I decided against it.
I heard like 2 lines and I was just curious if they only changed the chorus or they changed the verses. And once I heard the verses, I was like, oh, and I just changed.
No, it was a point where I was like, if y'all don't get this mess off my
Yeah. Yeah,
TV.
there you go. There you go. There you go. Good job. Good job. Good job. Yeah, man, I'm cool. And since, I appreciate Terry checking me on not giving out unnecessary shout outs. I appreciate you, brother, for keeping me
He was part of it, man.
Yeah.
He was an accessory.
You're right, man. I gotta pull that back. It'll be other times where I
It'll
can
be
do a
another
shout-out.
time
Yeah.
where you can give him a shout
This ain't
out.
it. I appreciate you keeping me on my square with that because this does not deserve a shout out, legendary or not. Yeah.
Nah, son.
This ain't it, man. I wish I had we had our buttons, man. Now this probably would deserve
We don't got them, so you don't have to make.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just do a man.
Reminisce.
Yeah.
You want my old stuff? Go buy my
Hold
old.
out. I knew he was gonna say that. All right, man. So much for that. Vax that thing up.
Vax That Thing was funded by PPP.
Straight up.
Shouts to the flood.
Yo, I tell you what, Jay Moore. I'm just telling you though. I bet I catch that as a ringtone, my boy. I'm just telling
that's
you.
a good idea.
Look, I'm just waiting for someone to be like, yeah, I'm going to play this in the club this weekend. That'll kill.
Oh,
Do you-
my God.
Okay, so let me ask.
There's always somebody.
I was about to say, you're out and about a lot. Please tell me when you hear it at
Oh,
least
it's gonna
once or
play.
record it or something.
Somebody will play Vax That Thing Up, and they'll think they're being so clever.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll definitely. If I play again, I'll definitely blend the two together. Absolutely. It'll be like
Which one you gonna start with?
Juvenile's regular verse,
Okay.
and then like blend into the.
Oh, yeah.
So people are gonna like hear the regular song and then think,
Like he'll just put the chorus of Vax That Thing Up in the regular song.
or just Manny.
Jay Moore, I agree with you. And actually,
Shout
all
out to
y'all.
Mia X though. I'm glad to see that she's doing well.
Hey.
There's
I
always
guess
room
she's
for
doing
me,
well.
but I can't give her a shout out.
So what is the thing exactly that we're vaxing up
Well, you get shots in your,
in the ass?
don't do that.
thing.
Don't do that.
Please, this would go somewhere
Yeah,
else.
don't do that.
Let's
Don't do
just-
Don't do that.
I don't know. I mean,
Because when they say that thing,
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's
Yep,
no.
we're gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
we
I think
gonna
it's-
get around that one.
I think it's just you look good once you vax that thing up. Like,
No,
I would
no.
like to talk to you, but since you're not vaxxed,
No,
I can't talk
man.
to you.
we not.
So please go get vaxxed so I can talk to you.
Vax that
If
thing.
you want
up.
to get
Vax
on
that
your
thing.
No.
little social media sites and get the internet dating again,
Red
you know,
August.
Yeah.
Got to vax that thing.
Red August. I'm trying.
Vax your
man.
body up. That thing is your body. Vax your
Yeah,
body.
Oh.
that's what the thing is. Your body.
Okay.
You know.
Is that what you thought when you heard thing initially?
That's a new one. That's a new one
First of
for
all,
me.
it's some
What else could it possibly mean? In this instance?
it's some women before the pandemic need to vax that thing up.
Right, they need to do
All
more
right.
than that.
All right, so let's go
Maybe.
ahead and get into this. Our original topics for the day. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's get into Royce to 5'9", man.
Okay.
For Royce.
Shout out to Hip Hop DX. It's, I gotta cite my sources. So Royce tweeted,
Did he?
West Coast artists make the best albums. I just realized this. 𝐀𝐿, Game, YG, Nip, Roddy, Quick, Dre, Snoop, Cube, Anderson, Schoolboy. And he's basically just standing on the fact that West Coast artists make the best music. So there was a response.
Make the best music or the best albums?
Best albums. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Okay.
Make the best albums. Now, I am I have a West Coast bias. I'm just going to throw it out there. Just from production standpoint, this was always influenced by the West Coast. I love Quick. Y'all have heard me say that over and over again. Battle Cat, Dre, all those guys. But when I think about the list that he named, if you want to go, we've done a lot of regional stuff. We talked about, we've been talking about most influential, and we hit the Midwest, West, whatever. We talked about that already. But looking at this comment, man, I don't disagree. I really don't. And that could be my West Coast biases coming out. But when you think about, take YG off, I'm not a YG fan, so I wouldn't put him up there with the rest of these people that's on this list. That's just me.
Picking back being cool. Just leave that with you.
Yeah, I feel you. Appreciate you. But I'm not mad at this, man. Like I'm really not. I'm just not. So Lone, I'll come to you first, man. When you hear that and you hear Royce say that, a dude from the Midwest, pretty much giving it up to the West Coast in terms of them putting out the best projects, best albums, what you think? Like, what was your initial reaction when you saw that?
That it's his opinion.
Okay.
That's about it. I mean, like, Royce obviously makes albums of his own, and they're obviously good, and he's not from the West Coast. So I feel like it's just his way of saying, wow, a lot of the stuff that I really like is from the West Coast, and a majority of it is. I don't think it necessarily takes away from anybody else, that aspect. I'd really have to, like, sit and think about it, maybe like he did, to really think if my favorite albums are really from the West Coast. But there are a lot of them. And even outside of, like, just the ones he mentioned, like in the pre-show, we talked about Blue and Exile. Like, that's a classic album. John's album with Exile, I like a lot of Evidence's music. I like a lot of stuff that Alchemist does with other people. Now, granted, he's a producer, but he's from that area.
West Coast, yeah.
Madlib, obviously the stuff with Freddie Gibbs. Gibbs is obviously from the Midwest, but the sound is Madlib.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's undeniable, I think, that the West Coast is really heavy in a lot of really great music. But, I think it just...
So somebody replied and was like, "You're doing a Bay dirty with this one." And they mentioned Mac Drake, Dacus, Ebo, Mac Ball, Short, 40.
Yeah, and I'm
Silly
cool.
Cell.
I'm cool on all those people.
I know you are. I'm just saying,
but still, there's still an argument that could be made. So I don't know. I feel like it's just Royce's opinion, and I really respect Royce a lot because he is very he talks about a lot of stuff on his Instagram, and he'll address things, and he's very you can tell that he thinks about what he's saying before he says it. He's not just spouting off opinions just to spout off opinions to get clicks and stuff. He's so if he mentioned this, then I'm guessing it's valid.
I was wondering if you were going to say that because that's also something I took from it is who said it. Like I took that into consideration because if anybody's credible, my personal opinion, and maybe we all echo that, Royce would be somebody that thought this out. Granted, it's his opinion, but to me, it just holds a little more weight for him saying that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I definitely respect his opinion.
Sure.
Jay Diff, what you think, man? We've talked West Coast. We've talked, Doggy Style and Chronic and all these iconic albums, man. Like
me and you personally did not talk Doggy Style, sir.
We didn't talk about. We've never talked about West Coast albums and Ice Cube, and we just talked about the Bomb Squad.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I see what you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You didn't catch it when I said it, so he had to break it down.
Don't do that.
for
Don't
you.
do that because I caught it too late. Don't do that.
So realistically,
Go ahead,
this
man.
is your fault.
It is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. I caught it late. Go ahead.
Now I feel awkward because
Don't worry about it.
Sorry, that was a bad joke.
Yeah. Anyway, I too am fine to the West Coast sound. Now, granted, coming up, I used to actually get flack in my neighborhood for listening to East Coast artists because I just like music, period. So I would find certain artists and I would balance my stuff out. But when it comes to West Coast, there's a certain type of sound and influence that makes that it kind of puts you in a different place. I don't know.
Well, you've talked a lot about like Tupac's album.
Yep.
Yeah, Tupac's album, All Eyes on Me. No, not All Eyes on Me.
Me Against the World.
Me Against the World is one of my favorite albums of all time. And anytime I'm feeling a certain type of way, if I listen to that album, it kind of helps bring me out of that. And it is just maybe it's the storytelling, but you can't necessarily say it's the storytelling because he included albums like Doggy Style was just not even just the storytelling. It was Snoop's debut album. Snoop was burning before he even came out. He was featured on what was that? Deep Cover on that track, and of course on the Chronic. So he had already set a standard for himself. And the Chronic in itself, that album is crazy. Everything on there is hidden. The skits, the songs,
right?
Sample selection. You was talking about that earlier.
Yeah, there's nothing about that album that misses. So, and the albums that he named are key too. Like we didn't name artists, but albums he named artists. But when I see those names, I think of the album that I'm thinking that he's talking about, and it makes perfect sense. But in the same token, East Coast got some good storytelling and some great albums too. But Biggie actually preferenced the West Coast, kind of had an edge a little bit when he dropped a little verse about trying to sell records like Snoop. So this isn't a new thing with the West Coast being brought up as far as being the kind of dominant as far as best albums. And when it comes down to songs, influence, and things like that, of course you got to give it to the East Coast because East Coast is where rap originated. And
even
West
the caliber
Coast,
MCs on it.
Yeah, West Coast just put their spin on it. So I mean, again, it's one of those subjective things, but somebody that is a fan of West Coast music like myself, I could lean towards he's probably right.
Yeah. Good explanation. Especially now that I'm thinking about what you just said, when you look at the names, you automatically, certain albums just pop up in your head when you think about the names that he listed. Like it immediately goes to, like Good Kid, Mad City, and he says Game. I'm like, okay, the documentary. Crazy. You know what I mean? Like
YG.
I'm cool on
Victory Lap. I mean, not YG, Nip.
Yeah, Victory Lap.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Like the list is.
Cube got 4 or 5 classic albums, and I know some people use the classic word loosely. I don't. I try not to. But I stand on Cube having at least 4 classic albums.
See, that's what I meant because I've heard you say that even off air, like we've talked about it before. Like I've never heard you back off that ever.
Mm-mm.
Like I've never heard you sway or be swayed. Sorry,
because those are his.
Feelings.
Don't do that.
More than feelings.
Yeah, but sometimes like if I'm proven wrong or somebody makes a better point, I just shake your hand. He's accepting no handshakes on that. So, and I ain't mad at that. Like, we just talking about the Bomb Squad. So, Jay Moore, what you think, man, when you see this?
Well, the cool thing about being in the Midwest, and, I guess Detroit is still considered Midwest, I guess,
right,
in a way.
I would say so.
Is that you got your influence from a little bit of everybody. Mm-hmm. I remember growing up listening to the radio. We just played what was hot. There was no East or West Coast bias, or there was certainly no St. Louis bias where I'm from, if y'all didn't know, because
I was bumping that old Nelly nobody even heard of.
I mean, we did when we did have our local groups, but I remember hearing everything on the radio. Of course, we heard when Snoop and Dre were killing it, that was on the radio. But when Big was killing it, he was on the radio. But when you talk, but also when Royce the 5'9", he mentioned the cream of the crop like that, not that I know he knows there's more than that, but it's not like he was like, he also threw in, High C or South Central Cartel, and nothing against those groups, but
I see where you're going.
But even when I think about the West Coast, I still think about hieroglyphics. I think about the Far Side. I think about the Alcoholics.
Talk to 'em.
I think about Exhibit. I think. And I'm going to bring it up again. I think about Ice-T.
I knew it. Let me get my phone ready.
So it's right too.
Yeah. So, when we're talking about the West Coast, it's not just because everybody has that either G-Funk or that gangster sound they have in their mind, or, from the Dr. Dre tree. But there's still so much flavor on the West Coast. You know,
the underground scene is so huge on the West Coast.
What was it? The group Freestyle Fellowship. Yep. You know, there was so much that came out of the West that influenced
the 𝐾𝐄.
Yeah,
talk to him about the 𝐾𝐄.
So you know,
People Under the Stairs is from there too, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I think the contribution to hip hop that the West Coast gave is actually underrated.
Yeah,
is actually underrated. Now, mind you, you know,
I like that. Like that.
You know, I think they've made some great albums, but like I said, being in the Midwest, you know, once there was, there's still so much out of the East Coast that I think is fantastic. When you talk about complete albums, not just a song or two here, or they got like 3 songs here, and then the rest of the album is just on some, you know, some whatever. I'm talking about on the East Coast when I think about Pete Rock and CL Smooth's catalog, when I think about the first two brand Nubian albums, when I think, you know, you talk about East Coast, you're talking about Public Enemy's catalog. So if you start talking about the cream,
Quest,
you're talking about when you get to De La Soul, you know, when you're talking about the cream of the crop, you know, on either coast, I think it you know, it's a nice mix, and it's also things that you could put up against each other. Be like, I see what you're doing over here, but man, over here,
don't forget,
you can't front. And then when the South said, okay, the South got something to say.
Boy, did they ever?
I mean, we can't act like, you know, because at one point I will say, and this is something like I had a little pushback on when I had a conversation out offline, if you will.
Oh, I love this.
At one point when the West Coast got gangster and the East Coast was kind of into their party and dance, trying to figure out what they wanted to do
as a rebuttal.
Some of the most political records were coming out of the South. Mm-hmm. So that whole, you know, Afrocentricity, and we're going to talk about political things that the East Coast kind of dropped at one point.
Yeah.
Like it went to the South because really that's what the Ghetto Boys were. That's what some people will say.
People leave out Arrested Development.
You know, people
never get mentioned.
That's what Arrested Development was doing. That's what, I mean, you can if you really dig into 8Ball and MJG, that's what they were doing. Outkast, even on their first album, people talk about Southern Playlistic. That was a very political album.
Get up, get out, and get some.
Thank you.
You know, so that's, you know, so
listen to Crumbling
that's the great thing about hip hop is that if you want to make a case for something, you can make a case because there's always something that's been fantastic. And like, I'm not, and like, just like now, I'm one of these people where everybody wants to complain about hip hop. And, you know, it was, I know everybody's, if you're listening now, you probably saw the thing where T-Pain just said, you're doing the same thing. If you are still digging and you still love hip hop, like I said, there's so much good music out there. They may not play it on the radio. You may not see it on TV or on your award shows, but there's still so much good music out there, y'all. And don't fall into that trap where you feel like, the Migos and like and Cardi B. You're not obligated to listen to any of that.
You should know better by now.
Yeah. And so if you're still like one of these old people, and when I say old people, I'm talking about myself.
I see you long.
I'm 44 years old. And so I'm talking to the people who are my age, who's like, man, all this rap music, nobody's creative anymore. Like, you're just not looking hard enough.
Look.
And you are, just don't give me your lazy music takes.
Bruh, MP3s are over 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bar.
Like,
that's a bar.
Where are you at? The internet is a thing.
That's a bar.
You know, like, so if you're still the radio was, a lot of you, the radio was never for you.
To T-Pain's credit, though, when he said that, if I heard him correctly, it was in relation to records that he had been sent. And people were mad at his response because of what he was saying.
I don't think they were mad.
Yeah, I'm talking about, it wasn't like he was just assessing everything I hear. It's like people were submitting stuff to him. And he's like, y'all do something else.
Let me tell you something. Let me tighten the mic up real quick.
Tighten it up now.
So, as somebody who has accepted submissions, and Terry has as well,
for years,
let me tell you something. The amount of music that people that accept submissions get that sound exactly like something else that have no type of uniqueness to it. I'm telling you, like, I used to get over 100 emails a day.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like maybe 1 or 2 of them would be decent.
I've heard you say that before.
I'm not lying.
I've heard you say that before.
Because I want to like music. You know, like I don't.
You're not here to.
I'm not like, you suck. No, it's like, it's not like that. And the thing is, most people in general, and don't get me wrong, I know we're kind of tangenting here, but
no, do you think?
It's a great way to learn how to make music is to copy to do that. I teach that. But like, what is like this? There was this thing where people like, man, I made this record and it's really good. It sounds just as good as this person. It's like, well, then I'll go listen to that person. Like, I don't need like Johnny Chunky over here doing the same song that Drake is doing. Like,
you don't need the generic brand when it comes to music. You don't need the generic brand.
I don't.
I don't need.
I'll just go
value.
to the real thing.
I don't need the great value version of the baby.
I don't.
No, you like so
you're not gonna stand out, sir. If you do that.
So I understand what T-Pain's saying 100% because that's what it's like. People are like, but it's great. It's high quality. It's this. They're like, but I've heard it
over and over and
I've
over
already heard it.
Look, I remember when I was working in radio and like, a man DJ Rec One, like people knew that he was on the hip hop side, because I was on the R&B side at the Urban AC station. They'd be like, hey, I got this music, and be like, well, okay, what does it sound like? And this was something we heard more than once. I rap like Bone.
Oh,
what?
Man.
No, for real, I rap like Bone.
No, you don't.
And it was like, but there's already Bone. We don't need you to rap like Bone.
Yeah, we don't need Milk Bone.
Yeah, we got Milk Bone, but
yeah. Thanks.
But we don't need Bone Thugs and Harmony too.
I think that's something that a lot of, and we kind of transferred everything in here, but we've got just why is this on? Okay, just to West Side Gun. But the one thing that I think a lot of artists don't realize early enough is that, like, yes, it's great to have these skills.
Yeah. But
I don't mean to sound like an old head, but when we were coming up making music, sure, we may have like heard something be like, oh, let me try to make that, but we weren't in a position to then turn around and put it out on the internet and share it to a whole bunch of people.
Right.
We would just continue to make stuff and then eventually we would put it out some way. But nowadays, it's just like you make something, you've been making beats or making music for a year, you put it out.
Look what I can do.
I can do it. I made it. And there's like there's not a ton of middlemen to subtly say like, yeah, that's good, but you still got a lot of work to do.
Let me ask you this. And you said something that caught my attention as it relates to how you teach class. You said, I teach, make sure I'm paraphrasing. I'm probably paraphrasing, but you said, you teach your students about, I guess, trying to make stuff, mimic certain things.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you say
steal like an artist.
Okay. So when you say that, are you saying go for that sound verbatim, or are you saying put your elements into it and make something similar to that?
No, what I'm saying is that what I teach my students, if they make it through the full 9 months of class of learning Ableton Live, and they stick around, there's a part in that class where I have them choose a song, and I say, try to make this song exactly the same way.
Okay.
Try to take everything, all the elements, and remake it. And it's because it's a practice in learning how to do something. They're not yet in a position to make something creative that is their own.
Okay.
Like they can't do that yet. And so I think that as far as learning different things, like if you're a producer, take a Mad Lib, take an Alchemist, take a Timbaland, take a Swiss Beats, whatever, make one of their beats, whatever, remake it. Try to do it the best you can, but then go back and like when you work on your own stuff, take from them, but don't mimic it. Right.
Okay.
But I feel like a lot of artists, quote unquote, in our time right now, just don't have that intermediary step. They don't have like, if they're doing it on their own, they're like, all right, I'm going to try to make something that sounds exactly like this. I'm going to take this person's cadence. I'm going to take how they're rapping, or I'm going to take how they're making it. They don't have the step. They don't have the time built in to actually develop themselves outside of what they're mimicking. So they sound exactly like something else.
I remember there was a local cat that used to submit to the site all the time and was actually featured on one of the Gateway albums that would pretty much pick the artist he wanted to be at that time. And I'm not going to say any names. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Not yet, but I'm sure.
But he would pretty much be that artist for that point in time. He had even changed his name at one point in time.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it was so obvious and blatant that it was annoying.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, man.
Wait, he changed his name to fit.
No, I mean, he changed his name, but to Terry's point, like, you could tell that he was a chameleon in the sense of he wasn't necessarily, and maybe he was still finding himself.
Was
Right.
it Logic?
No,
Logic was from that.
but I think that's, you know, but
see what
that's
you did
the thing. Like, there's not a lot of artist development. We don't have that. So there's nobody that's like putting out mixtapes and trying to rap like somebody else and trying to do this stuff. It's just like, even Logic, we've given him, you know, a hard time because he sounds like Kendrick on a lot of stuff. Like, he sounds like he's taking Kendrick's model and just mimicking it in a lot of ways. Those that can hear it, those that can hear it, can hear it. Those that don't, maybe you don't hear it, but some of us definitely hear it.
Y'all put me on. I ain't gonna hold you.
But I think it's a unique place that we're in with just artist development and creativity because anybody has access to everything. And, you know, if you're out there, it's really hard to get listened to. And if you sound like somebody else, it's tough. So like you have to, this is another reason why, what was that phrase from Little Brother from Fonte? He said, he was talking to Jazzy Jeff and he said, would you work 10 years for your dream and 7 years later, now I'm seeing what it means and all this other stuff. And I always took that quote just to heart because it was like, there's so much, and I don't know exactly how he meant it. I'm not going to suggest that, but what I took it as is there's so much development as just a person in general and as an artist that, you know, who you are right now might not be who you are tomorrow. And depending on how many hours you put into your craft or whatever you're doing, you may not be who you actually are. You still might be a lot of somebody else. And a lot of artists that I hear are other people. And, you know, I think until you can graduate out of being under the shadow of sounding like somebody else directly, nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody cares.
I think that's why some artists say that they don't listen to anybody else.
I think it's a good idea.
I'm one of those from a production standpoint.
But I hear artists say that. I hear comedians say that. You know, because you don't want to accidentally tell someone else's, you know, joke. Right. You know, I don't
across
the board.
As a producer, and Lone, you can speak to this. I think in your mind, you don't bite. You never go into a situation trying to bite someone. But if you listen to enough stuff and you hear it, it's like
subconscious.
That's what I'm talking about. It's going to come out if you listen to a lot of stuff that's being played over and over and over again. Right?
Right.
So I try to, the way I listen to new music now is I'll stumble upon it, or someone that's credible, that I deem credible, will send it to me. Yo, man, you need to listen to this. Yo, you need to listen to this. Like, that's the way I get it now because I don't listen to the radio. I just don't. You know, I get music through references that people try to put me on to. That's just the way I get it. I listen
because I'm constantly trying to find something dope all the time.
Yeah.
But and even DJing, you have to kind of be like that.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I think I mean, we all bite. You know, but it's just like the level of it, you know, and it's the intent. And it's like, are you trying to make it unique? And are you trying to like actually, you know, and for the people that are quote unquote critics or tastemakers, like as myself and as, you know, Terry, like we've done this for a long time.
High level.
And so when I say that we have a different ear, we have a different ear. And it's not an ear that you can teach. And it's not one that if you're an artist and only been making music for 4 years, like I can't explain it to you yet. You're just not there. I'm just going to say, well, try again.
Keep working.
I'll listen next time.
Yeah.
But we all bite.
Yeah. I agree.
I
agree 100%.
Influence is key.
Yeah, it is. And you drop some jewels, man, in terms of how you approach your students and everything. That's real. You know, I think I like that as kind of like a final, like see if you can, you know, recreate something.
I think it's one of the first things I ever learned when I went to college was one of my professors was like going to school for programming. He was like, see a website you like, steal the code. And I was like, what? Steal the code? You know? And I was like, all right, cool. Look at it. You see what they're doing. And then because you realize you're not going to do it the exact same way.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a learning process. And it's the same thing. You know, like if you really like this instrumental, this is what you kind of want your music to sound like.
Yeah.
Cool. Then you're going to learn techniques that person did, and you're going to learn how to make stuff similar, and then you're going to add your own swing to it. But it always takes, there's just, you know, we're in a really fast world right now.
True.
And, you know, a lot of us don't have patience to actually learn. So it's.
I like that, man. Well said. Well said. Appreciate y'all on that one. That's dope
welcome.
feedback. Yeah. Good job, sir. I learned something right there. Is it okay? Do you guys want to go ahead and shout out our partners real quick?
Yeah, we can.
Red August?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
No.
He said. We'd like to thank our partners for the New Old Heads podcast. No Hey, Bad you was- Ideas Clothing Hey, you was
E.
preaching.
preaching.
Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, Sun King Brewery, and the hub for all things New Old Heads, Bringing Down the Band.com. Remember, once you type Bringing Down the Band in the search bar on YouTube and the page populates, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications.
Okay.
And as always, we thank you for your support.
Uh-huh.
Now back to the show.
Awesome.
We back, y'all. Again, as always, say we appreciate our partners that have been rocking with us. We appreciate everything that they do for us to help us, continue to do what we do. So salute to them. All right, let's see. Let's continue on. Good topic. That last topic was dope. Turning into something a little bit different. But yeah, that was fire right there. Got some wisdom out of that. Fire. Let's go to the producer. This is what I would what I would call
a lone artist.
A lone artist. This is a lone guy, 100%. Blockhead. And this again is from via Hip Hop DX. So it says Blockhead explains why nostalgia is a scam, including some of the hip hop that we grew up on. So I want to read a couple comments, and we'll see what you guys think. So, let's see, where's the first one? He says, and this is in regards to the title of his album. Nostalgia is a Scam is the new single, but the forthcoming album is called Space Wolverines will be the end of us all. So
is that a 𝐀𝐄𝐃 album?
Wow.
No,
Sure.
Space. You know what? I take that back. Space Werewolves will be the end of us all.
You just had X-Men on the brain.
Yeah, I
You
was
was
thinking
talking about
X-Men.
Wolverines.
Yeah.
Still could be a 𝐀𝐄𝐃
Or
album.
or University of Michigan.
Whatever. Yeah. But he says the title is half joking and half serious. He says, on one hand, nostalgia is everything. We all appreciate it, and it's those things we are nostalgic about that often shaped us into the adults that we are. He says, that said, some things we all must admit is that a lot of the stuff that we grew up on didn't age well, and that's okay. Just because something is old and rare doesn't mean it is good, or just because something meant a lot to us at a certain point in time of our lives doesn't mean it has to forever hold that same weight. To take that further, a lot of the issues in this country are based off nostalgia. So he got a little heavy right there. And then he also says, I've made a career off sampling older music, he admits. He says, what can I say? We all fall victim to scams on some level. He said, also, I'd like to add that most of my song titles are jokes and fairly arbitrary, and this particular one basically is a tweet turn song title, so don't get mad. So, but as regards to what he's talking about with nostalgia, I've had this conversation before. We've all kind of hit on it, but I've never heard someone come out, just pretty much take this angle on it and turn it to a record like nostalgia is a scam. But based off what I read from him, Jay Moore, I'll come to you first. How do you feel about that, man? Because there are time periods, we've talked about it, where you connect to something, but everything don't age well. I do agree with that. Certain stuff we listen to and we're like, yeah, this was dope when I was,
Right.
whatever age. But as I listen to it now as a fully developed grown man, it's like, I was really rocking this in my car when I was 16, 17 years old.
Like Get Crunked Up.
If you want to do that, that's cool. We'll take Get Crunked.
Shout out to the icon.
I just had to throw myself out there.
Go ahead and put
Yeah.
that out there. Yeah, I ain't mad at that.
I never liked that song.
Of course you didn't.
I did. I swear I did.
I didn't either. All right, go ahead, Jay Moore. What do you think about this, man? I'm with
it's not
Terry on that.
good, so I mean,
Yeah.
I was cool on that. I was cool on that back then. I will say that.
I mean,
was
they
cool.
were on a major label. It got a push. Their video was on TV.
Get crunked up.
I was cool.
Get crunked
I ain't even
up,
know.
get crunked up.
I ain't even know Lone was riding around Anderson to that. So now I know. I think
It
we
was
know
a
your
green
friends.
CD.
Yeah.
I remember. I remember there was a girl in there that was on MTV True Life.
Oh yeah.
Because she had
True Life. I don't like good music.
No, I wish
that.
this shows how deep I get into the hip hop and the trivia.
Yeah.
It was True Life. I don't like my breasts.
What?
And she
I was close.
And she was fine. And she had got a breast reduction. And her boyfriend was like, "Man, I don't know why you would do that." But she wound up getting into the Get Crunked Up video, and she was real proud of herself for getting into the Get Crunked Up video.
Well, hey,
bless her heart, man. That's
what did she do since then?
Oh, come on now.
Or was that her Al Bundy moment?
That was her 4 touchdowns.
Let me tell you, the Miami hip hop scene. That's it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Is nostalgia a scam, man? Talk to me, man.
No, nostalgia is not a scam because it also nostalgia.
And don't say Ice-T, man.
No, I'm not going to say Ice-T because I've already said Ice-T this episode. Y'all already
you only
know
get
how
one
I feel.
Ice-T per episode, bro.
No,
Only one.
No, because first of all, nostalgia is subjective.
Okay.
Okay. I feel some kind of way about Belle Biv DeVoe because that was the first concert I ever went to. And I saw them, and like that was a time when I was first going out to little dances, and I thought I was fly with my 𝗏𝗏.
Hey,
you was there when they had the big beeper on the stage.
Yeah, I was there for that, for the Triple Threat tour.
Yeah, there you go.
At the arena in
don't
St.
lose
Louis.
your train of thought. But what did you wear to the dance? What was the outfit? The whole outfit?
To the concert or to the dance?
Like when you said it was back.
Oh yeah, what you wore is I had they weren't 𝗏𝗏s because 𝗏𝗏s were
you had
expensive.
a used outfit.
I didn't get used or damaged. My parents wasn't going for nothing used or damaged.
Okay.
They just
shout out
concept.
to you folks for that.
So they were 𝗏𝗏 style, like the pants, because 𝗏𝗏s were expensive. They was like $70 for the pants. And
my mama.
Now I would get that. And I would have, I thought I was fly, so I would get like a rayon shirt.
Oh,
remember when rayon was really pop? Yeah, if you felt like it was silk, but it wasn't. It was rayon, and you felt like it was a little nicer than just your regular cotton button up that you would wear to church.
You liked how it would flow when you would do the running man.
Yeah, so you had a little bit more. If the wind caught you the right way, and you had your 𝗏𝗏s on and your rayon shirt, I had a gray and a white one. So that's how I would get fly, and with my Pops watch.
Hey,
Pops watch.
Okay.
No,
but back to the scam nostalgia.
But if you're 5 years older than me or 5 years younger than me, that bit of nostalgia means absolutely nothing to you.
Absolutely correct.
I like that.
So I mean, it's just like I think I talked about it either offline or maybe pre-show. Like I'm a fan of the original Transformers show, and I go back and watch that show now, and I'm like, the animation in the show is terrible.
Yeah,
especially during the third season. Yeah. And sometimes nostalgia can the only reason you like something is because you remember it from when you were a child.
Yeah,
and it hits you at a certain point of your life. It's kind of like, when you play certain video games, you go back and play old Nintendo games. The reason we talk about the same 30 Nintendo games is because there's really only about 30 to 50 good Nintendo games out of the 700 they released.
You're being a pretty
what is he being?
Generous.
He's being
most of the original Nintendo games. You know why we talk about Tecmo Bowl so much? Because that's the only Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl are the only good football games on the that entire time. Yeah. The rest of those football games, John Elway football and 10-yard fight and touchdown fever, all those games are trash.
I'm pro Super Bowl over the first one.
There's actually a game called NFL football, and you know what? It's trash. And so that's part of the reason why we have so much admiration and nostalgia for Tecmo Bowl, because it was the only good game that was available. And we can do the same thing for music. Sometimes it lives up to what we remember. Like when I go back, I think about the special time when I was a freshman in college and Only Built for Cuban Links and Liquid Swords, and then Busta Rhymes' first album, and All Eyes on Me. All those albums came out my freshman year. And you know what? Those albums still stand up. But there's still some records where I go back and I'm like, I only like this. Like I go back, I'm like, what was I thinking about?
Yeah.
And I know this is hard for people to listen to. I go back and listen to the East 1999 Eternal.
Be careful.
I'm sorry.
Be careful.
It doesn't hold up the way those other records hold up.
All right.
But once again,
I haven't listened to it in a while, but that was my jam though.
But once again, that's why I'm saying nostalgia is subjective.
Okay.
It depends on what you were doing in your life, how old you were, and where you were.
Jump in.
Yeah, it's definitely subjective, but in the same token, nostalgia is needed to function almost. You know what I'm saying? Everything is tied to nostalgia. Even smells. Like, have you ever been driving down the street or something and you caught a smell from outside?
Trigger something.
That immediately puts you back to where you were at a certain time. It's like an automatic rewind button almost. I think we need those moments just for the spoils of life. You know what I'm saying? I don't see anything wrong with nostalgia. I don't think it's a scam either. Like, how does he break it down as far as it being a scam? Like, is he saying that calling something nostalgic or having a certain sound musically is cheating? Is that what he's doing?
I think he's probably saying that just because something is nostalgic doesn't mean that it's like for the general populace is like a classic or great. You know,
so
it could be personal.
Is this a sneak diss on Griselda?
I don't know.
But I mean, a lot of things have stood the test of time, and like you brought up certain cartoons or whatnot that didn't. The Transformers movie still go.
That still holds up.
Yeah, animation is still dope.
Still incredible.
When we're talking about nostalgic albums, I just brought up Parliament Funkadelic. If you go back and listen to some Parliament Funkadelic right now, if that's your thing, you want to hear some funk, it's still going to hold up.
Right.
A lot of classic albums that weren't just deemed classic because somebody felt a certain way. You can go back and listen to those albums and they sound timeless. That's one of the keys too, I think. It's something that's timeless. So like, if you can't really pinpoint where this is from, but it's from the past and it's nostalgic, then that cannot be classified as a scam.
I agree. I actually like that you said that, because I've had this conversation before as it relates to how music, like how certain music will age. And a lot of the older music that either my mama was playing or we grew up on, I'm looking at myself and I'm listening to I'm listening to Stevie the other day. One of his, probably second, third or fourth album. I think it was The Talking Book. And I'm like, I wasn't even born when this album came out. And it sounds amazing right now. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds great. And we weren't even around when some of this music was coming out. We didn't even thought of when he was recording these records. And they're great records today. Al Green, like all the James Brown. Like, when you hear Payback, we wouldn't even thought about. Great records though. So I think things do age, but I feel him on certain ones because, like you said, we all can point out joints where it's like,
no.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's probably.
That wasn't it.
I think that's what he's probably pointing at, because I can always, for all the great records that we're talking about that were like spectacular, right, and they hold the test of time.
There's a million trash ones.
There's a whole bunch of them too that I can think of.
That we enjoyed when they were out.
Exactly. I really like this Noriega record, and I listen to it now and be like, what did I like about it?
Right.
You could even go to Stevie.
Shouts to Noriega. I don't mean to, but
yeah, I see your point.
You could even go to somebody's legendary Stevie Wonder, because I remember, when he was singing "I Just Called to Say I Love You" on the Cosby Show when they was jamming on the one and all that. Like, I listened to that song now, I was like, this is horrible.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I hate that.
I love Stevie Wonder, but I hate that song.
Don't do that. No,
it's not. I can't say it's one of my favorites.
I mean, Stevie got some. Go ahead, Lone. Don't lose your train of thought.
No, I was just going to say, like, to what you're saying, I think that's probably what he's aiming at. Is just like, because I can think of a whole bunch of, when I think back to a certain era, one thing recently for me, and I've mentioned it on the show in the last few weeks, I think we were talking about early 2000s, like Rockefeller production, outside of really Kanye West and some Just Blaze. Like, a lot of that stuff was corny to me. And at the time, I liked it. And I listen to it now and I'm like, what was I liking about this? Was it just because it was popular at the time? Because I wanted to like it? I don't know. It's like this psychological thing where I'm like trying to take myself back to a specific time.
But in the same token, and I always go back to this album for some reason, that Nas, what was that? Not God's Son.
Nostradamus.
No, not Nostradamus.
I was right about Nostradamus.
Not Nostradamus. Right before Nostradamus.
I
I am. I like I am.
I do too, but there's tracks on there that was trash then and they're trash now.
Absolutely horrible.
But other than that, the album still goes.
Yeah.
Hold on, what I am was the was that this?
we at the Pharaoh or the King Tut.
Oh, is that the one?
Money
where
is my expletive.
Yeah, and then he was he had the song with Aaliyah, You Won't See Me
You Won't
Tonight.
See Me Tonight is so trash.
I've
never liked that song.
But New York State of Mind.
I had
wanna
nice
talk to the
speakers in my car.
mayor,
Trash.
and the president. I was like,
he had the song about safe sex.
Dr. Knockboot.
Dr. Knockboot
Still like
was
Dr.
cool.
Knockboot.
Yeah, I like that. I can't say the
That was the B side to Nas is like.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
Why?
To your point, that's funny you said that because
Actually,
that's
now I
one.
think about that song is trash.
That's one. That's one that I'm Nostradamus. The whole thing outside of Project Windows. Project Windows is one of Nas's coldest songs to me, but it's on his worst album. Right, but I am got some holes in it, major holes.
Bootlegging started changing.
You know what,
because
though?
that was supposed to be
What?
a double album that, and a lot of things were messed up.
But-
a lot of good stuff wound up on the first Lost tapes.
Go ahead.
But what I'll say is that like I Am is still an album that I hold on to by Nas because of nostalgia.
Yeah, see, that's being honest. That's keeping it
Because
a
like
buck.
there's what's the Street Song 2 or what's the Part 2 song? Why can't I? New York State
New
of
York
Mind.
State of Mind Part
That
2.
song is
hard.
still hard.
It's really dope, right? And so he's got a handful that are really dope, and then he's got some I'm like, move
See,
over.
this goes
But
to
Nas's Like was one of my favorites at the time.
Yeah.
you
Still
know.
one of my
I
favorites.
can dig that because
I'm not mad at
when
that.
we talk about Mac just got out of prison. Shout out to Mac.
Yeah,
Shell Shock was one of the best No Limit albums
ever.
in my personal opinion when it came out.
Yep.
And me and Spoolz go back and forth on this too because we both agreed that it was a classic.
Yeah.
Or it was the best, one of the
Right.
best No Limit albums.
Yeah.
I went back and listened to it like within the last year, and I almost couldn't stomach it.
That's how it was with Silk the Shockers, Charge It to the Game too.
Mm.
Or Charge It.
No,
Nah, just Charge
you
It to the
talking about
Game.
you talking about no, he's talking about
Hold on,
there's
hold
one
on.
after Charge to the Game.
No. I'm talking about the one that's got It Ain't Your Fault.
That's Charge to the Game.
Okay, yeah, I screwed that up. But
I know what you're talking about though.
I liked that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me tell you about a
The
song.
ad libs out rap Silk. Like,
Let me tell you about a song I liked, and I played it maybe about a month ago, and I was like, this is certifiably awful.
Give me something.
Jay-Z had a song with Mariah Carey off Volume 3 called The Things That You Do with Swizz Beatz did it, and like, this song is awful.
Every little thing that you do.
No.
that's
Oh,
Ja
I'm thinking
Rule.
that.
No, that's Ja Rule.
I know what you're talking about. And the beat was
it
real.
has this flute on it. That I loved that record in the year 2000. I listened to it a year ago.
Yo.
I was like, this is
That song is
awful.
trash.
Jay-Z probably don't even remember the words to that song.
That's one of the songs you was talking about that did not get blessed by Kanye West or
Just Blaze.
I mean,
or
yeah.
They're like-
Bink or none of them cats.
they're like, let's try a DJ Son over
no.
here.
That was that's probably not just
Swiss.
Swiss. It's probably a Swiss track because the way it sounds.
No, it is a Swiss track,
Yeah.
and it's terrible.
That ain't it.
Swiss was so hot and cold. Like he would
Yeah,
either be
yeah.
on or just.
And they get on me
Off.
when I say that, man. Swiss is a legend, man. But when you start stacking him up,
Like Jay-Z, Mariah Carey, and Swizz Beatz, that is a marriage made in hell.
yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. Like I'm 100% cool on that record, and I used to play it. But
Yeah, me too. I used to put it on every one of my little mix. I was burning CDs for people.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all gonna
Oh,
get
you
on
was that
this.
you was that guy, huh? How much they hit for?
Sure. What? I did what I had to do. Don't.
I ain't gonna put you out there. What they say, statute limitations.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I think a man should never, ever, ever cry. Do-no-no-no-no.
What song is that?
Red August, man. Listen, get your people, man.
Cameron with the.
Oh, you know what another?
Oh, my God.
Another record
But Jewel
by
Santana-
Nas. Black Girl Lost. I hate that record now.
Time out. Wait a minute. Whoa.
I hate Summer on Smash.
Wait a minute.
We never liked Summer on Smash.
Hold up.
That song was trash.
Hold up.
No.
You don't like how? You don't like
JoJo
Black Girl
on it.
Lost?
No.
Are you
I like Black Girl
serious?
Lost. That gives me that might classify as the whole nostalgic thing because that song puts me in a certain
Listen,
you know what?
Listen. Hey, that's heat. I'm sorry.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Hey, that song's fire.
I didn't like
He
the song.
sang it a little better.
I didn't
than
like that.
though.
I didn't like it in 1996. So
I liked it back then.
So
I ain't gonna. I still like that.
I shouldn't even put the nostalgia tag on it. I didn't like it then.
Hey, Mo,
I
you
still
killing-
like that song.
You
It's
everything was
nostalgic hate.
everything was
Yeah.
fine till you said Black Girl Lost.
Yeah,
Come on,
I'm
man.
still
I'm
rocking
sorry.
with Black Girl Lost.
Yeah.
man.
Oh man,
Play that in a set. I'm walking off the stage.
Oh my
Hey.
goodness, man! Everything was going so well. All right, I don't think I can reference anything. Y'all pretty much used all the examples. Like,
I mean, I have nostalgia. Legitimately, I have a moment in time with the Supreme Clientele with you specifically, because you came over to my house and picked me up when we went to play for Martin Luther King Jr.'s son,
jazz band.
and in the car you're like, listen to this. And he played
Nutmeg.
the skit. No, you played
Was it the skit?
You played the skip track.
Oh, the RZA joint. Yeah, where the record skips.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
listen to this. And I was like, what is going on? But like Supreme Clientele literally marks time for a specific.
Yeah.
No,
And that album held very well
Yeah, for sure. Even though he's not rapping about anything on a couple of those
at
songs.
all.
No, I mean, like I said, all this applies to every. I mean, it can apply to art. It can apply to music. TV show. It can apply to food.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Like honestly, I watch old TV shows because it puts me in a nostalgic feel. It makes
some
me
of
feel
them
like
are good too, though.
it
Some
makes you
of
feel
them.
like a kid. Yeah, some of them are good.
I tried to recommend, like someone talked to me about anime, and I was like, "Oh, have you ever seen Robotech: The Macross Saga?" And they were like,
What?
and then like they were like, "This is terrible."
What did you just say?
Yeah, like you know,
Robotech the Macross Saga.
Robocross, because I don't like the rest of it, but the
And Jay Moore
Macross
is like-
part of it.
Wait, is it?
And the thing is, I watched them like because it's on different streaming platforms.
Yeah.
I probably watch that part of Robotech at least once a year. The entire like 36 or
Well, look here,
37
man.
episodes.
I'm gonna end it on this note. Sanford and Son is still classic, and I'm not gonna let you hate on a black father. We're gonna go ahead and end it on that
I
note.
wasn't gonna say nothing about Sanford.
Shout out to Fred G. Sanford.
You get me started on Lester. I'll let you know that Lester was not doing the right thing in
We're
227.
not gonna even do that.
That's on the lost tape of the new old.
There we go. Yes, 100%.
It really is.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody that was in the chat tonight. We appreciate you. Make sure that you guys go to the New Old Heads Network on YouTube, hit the bell for notifications, and also subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitch as well. This is where we obviously broadcast all of our shows live. And check us out on Patreon when you get a chance as well, /New Old Heads. We appreciate the support as always. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
In a minute.